Hi, and welcome. You're listening to the X22 Report. My name is Dave, and this is episode 3690BN. Today's date is July 22nd, 2025, and the title of the episode is The Real Manchurian Candidate Has Been Exposed, Sedition, Treason, Justice, Tock. Let's talk about our health. The science is in. A clinical trial found that just 10 grams of collagen a day for 8 weeks led to a roughly 20% increase in skin hydration and a 17% improvement in elasticity, while also visibly reducing wrinkle depth. If you want to help improve your skin health, it's clear that collagen is essential. This is why I use the secret magical powder, and I'm obsessed with the results. Multi-collagen provides my skin with 5 types of premium collagen to help attack wrinkles from every angle. I'm seeing smoother skin, more elasticity, fewer lines, and more youthful glow. Plus, multi-collagen mixes smoothly with my morning coffee or tea. There's no clumping and zero added flavor. Do yourself a big favor and grab yourself a bag of ageless multi-collagen now for 51% off only at healthwithx22.com. Plus, by ordering today, you'll also receive free VIP life health and fitness coaching for life and a free ebook titled The 14 Foods for Amazing Skin, a 60-day satisfaction guarantee, and free shipping with your order. Once again, this offer is only available at healthwithx22.com. That's healthwithx22.com, or just click the link in the description. Let's get into the economic collapse, political and geopolitical news. Now, the deep state, the corrupt politicians, big tech, fake news, the puppet masters, you can see the panic is real. Obama's panicking, Hillary's panicking, Clapper, Brennan, and all the other people that are treasonous to this country. And what you are seeing, you're seeing it all play out. Trump, he's not holding back. He's letting everyone know that Obama was the ringleader. Obama, he's the one who overthrew the United States government back in 2008. They tried to overthrow the United States government in 2016. They tried to have a coup in 2016. They actually went ahead and they overthrew the United States government in 2020. And they tried again in 2024. In 2020, Trump and the Patriots, they allowed them to do it because, again, if you're going to catch all these people in the act, you need to have them do the act. And I do believe what Trump is doing right now, he's having his people release the information, not all at once, slowly but surely, because think about his strategy and think about what he likes to do. He likes to drip the information out, and he allows the fake news, the deep state players, Obama and the rest, to respond to it. Oh, no, there's nothing to see here. Oh, no, everything's in accordance with what we said. Oh, no, what he's telling you is a complete and utter lie. Because think about it. What always gets you in the end? It's those individuals covering up the crime. So as they try to cover up their crime, cover up the information, what does Trump and the Patriots do? They go ahead and they release information which pretty much debunks everything that they said, and it proves that they're lying and they're trying to cover up what they did. And remember, Trump, he made sure that the Supreme Court ruled in his favor, going all the way back to when they were trying to remove his immunity. Remember that Supreme Court decision that Trump does have immunity in certain circumstances? Well, he needed this because he needed it to go after Obama. This is going to be their downfall. Remember, they are the ones who pushed, hey, Trump doesn't have immunity. And Trump forced them to go all the way to the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court made a ruling. This is not going to work in the favor of Obama. And remember, everything that Obama has tried, he was out of office. He wasn't the president. So this is going to be very, very interesting. And I remember when Trump said that Biden is the Manchurian candidate, but I do believe the real Manchurian candidate is now being exposed. And that is Obama. Because you could see with his people, they created a plan to destroy America. It wasn't just about going after Trump. Yes, Trump was in the way. Trump was standing in their way of their entire plan. Remember, they had a 16-year plan to destroy America, remove the Constitution, and enslave the people moving forward. Trump, he came into the picture. He was in the way, and this is why Trump continually says, they're really after you. I'm just in the way right now. And they tried with everything that they had to try to stop Trump, but it didn't succeed. And what Trump is going to show the American people is that this plan that they had started back in 2008. And this is when they started the insurgency. And it's still going on today. It hasn't ended whatsoever. And he's going to show that all these people, their entire plan was to bring down the United States. They've committed treason against the people of this country. And what about the statute of limitations? Well, with everything that they've done, it's not going to run out because the conspiracy is still happening. And a lot of the charges, they don't have statutes of limitations. So I do believe the clock is ticking down right now. And what Trump is going to do slowly but surely, where he's going to have his people bring out more and more of the information, the deep state players, the fake news, Obama and the rest, they're going to try to defend themselves. But every step of the way, Trump is just going to release information to show that they're just covering up their crime. And the cover-up always gives it away, because when you're covering up what you did, it means you are guilty. Just like those individuals who decided to use the auto pen to cover up their crimes. The cover-up always gets you in the end. And we truly did have a Manchurian candidate in this country. And I do believe in the end, we're going to find out that this individual was never a citizen of this country. This individual was basically bred to unleash his plan in his country. And I wouldn't be surprised if he tries to escape to his country of origin, which is probably Kenya. But we'll have to see how this all plays out. This is going to be very, very interesting. But Trump, he has them exactly where he wants them. He has all the leverage. They do not have the strength. Remember what he took away from them. He dismantled their security clearances. It's gone. The fake news is not receiving information from the intelligence organizations. Trump now has control over all the different agencies. He's dismantling USAID and many of the other agencies and NGOs. He's removing those individuals that kept the criminal syndicate operational. All of this is now falling apart right in front of their eyes. And all those people that have been pushing the propaganda, pushing everything against Trump, they are now being removed. And who are these people? Well, think about it. Think about the late shows. Stephen Colbert, Jimmy Kimmel, Fallon, and the rest. Remember, all these people are completely and utterly against Trump, even though they were losing money. It doesn't matter, the corporations, they were still paying these people because they needed to keep this up. And you can see it's all falling apart right now. Now, we're going to be talking a lot more about Obama and what is coming out now, because this implicates Hillary Clinton. It implicates Clapper, Brennan. They were all involved. And remember, these are the same people going all the way back in time. Everything that you've witnessed, everything that you've seen since 2008, it's been the same exact people. The people that unleashed the coup against Trump, the impeachments, those individuals that brought in COVID, cheated in the election, overthrew the United States government, had the insurrection, then decided to indict Trump, raid Mar-a-Lago. They tried to assassinate him, not once, but twice. They're continually trying to take him out, but it's not working. And you could see every step of the way, they failed. And now Trump has them exactly where he wants them. And along the way, what happened? Trump exposed and still is exposing their entire system to the world. Right now, we're on the judiciary. You've seen everything else. And soon, once we have the House, once we have the Senate, the deep state players lose all control. Remember, when you read The Art of the Deal, Trump never attacks his enemy unless he is strong and he has the leverage and the enemy is weak. And sometimes it takes a little while to get your enemy in that position. Sometimes you take all the slings and arrows. Sometimes you force them out of the shadows. Sometimes you force them to bring certain issues up to the Supreme Court so you have the rulings to go after these people. This way they can't question anything. The fake news can't question anything. And he has them exactly where he wants them. And you could see the panic is definitely real. And it's going to get worse as time goes on. And you could see that Trump, the people of this country, we're taking it all back. And when Trump said he's going to give the power back to the people, he's going to take it from D.C., take it from the criminal syndicate, and give it back to the people, he wasn't kidding. They stole our power. Trump now is dismantling their power system and returning it to the people, just like the Constitution says. And in the end, they will have no power. Now, we're going to be talking a lot more about this a little bit later. But first, let's talk about Stephen Colbert, because what's very interesting about him, and Trump made these predictions a long time ago, is that his show lost $40 million per year going all the way back to 2021, maybe even earlier. So we have Colbert, along with Jimmy Kimmel and Jimmy Fallon. They have their late shows, and they've been losing money every step of the way. And the reason why they were losing money is because they've been pushing the resistance. They've been hitting Trump over and over and over. And the corporations, they didn't care as long as they were able to keep their left-wing affirmative action going. They lost, I think, a total of $160 million just so they could just keep putting out this propaganda over and over and over to try to convince the people of this country. But again, the people of this country, they're no longer looking at Hollywood and looking at these people saying, oh, yes, they're right. Oh, we must listen to them. No one's doing that anymore. And now we could see that Colbert, his show is canceled. And it's not just because he lost money this year. He has been losing money. What they're finding out right now is that everything that they did, everything that they paid for, it didn't work. And soon you're going to see Kimmel, you're going to see Fallon. All these shows are going to disappear. Trump, he put this out on Truth. He said the following: the word is, and it's a strong word at that, Jimmy Kimmel is the next to go in the untalented late night sweepstakes, and shortly thereafter, Fallon will be gone. These are people with absolutely no talent who were paid millions of dollars for, in all cases, destroying what used to be great television. It's really good to see them go, and I hope I played a major part in it. And I do believe he did, because, again, everything that they tried to do has completely and utterly fallen apart. And what's very interesting is we know that we've seen fires in Hawaii. We've seen fires in L.A. And what's very interesting is that we always know that Hollywood, celebrities, and all these other people, once there's a disaster, they like to come out and say, hey, donate, hey, donate. And we know, like with the Haiti earthquake, with the fires, when people donate to the celebrities, the money never gets to any of the victims. Actually, the money is laundered to other places, NGOs and many other places. And this is exactly what happened out in L.A. Andy Ngo put this out and said, Democrats and celebrities raised $50 million for the victims of the Los Angeles fires. But where did that money actually go? Not to the victims, but rather nonprofits and into the pockets of high-salary executives and staff teams. And when you look back in time, you could see that all these different disasters, they use the celebrities to convince you to donate. Because again, it pulls on your heartstrings and you feel like you're doing a good thing. Oh, I must help these people. So you know what? The celebrities are saying it. I must give this money. But again, it's all a scam, just like everything else. And this money never, ever reaches the victims. It'd be better off if the people of this country actually went to these areas and actually helped the people that are suffering in these areas than just giving money to these celebrities. And you can see this is what the celebrities are used for. Not just that, but there's many different agendas, but this is one of the agendas. And now it's completely and utterly falling apart, just like everything else. And you can see with all these networks that have been going after Trump and manipulating the elections, well, Trump is suing every single one of them in a lot of lawsuits he's already won. And it's actually dismantling their entire system that they put together. Remember, the fake news like CBS, ABC, NBC, and all these other CNN, MSNBC, and the rest, these outlets were used to try to convince people. They put up fake poll numbers to try to convince people. They had celebrities come out to try to convince people. They had the late shows to try to convince people. This was their bullhorn that they used to try to convince you that, hey, Trump will never win the election. Oh, the COVID is real. All of this, everything that they've been telling us is one gigantic lie. But Trump let us know that he won a lot of lawsuits. This is what he put out on Truth. Breaking news. We have just achieved a big and important win in our historic lawsuit against 60 Minutes, CBS, and Paramount. Just like ABC and George Slopadopoulos, CBS and its corporate owners knew they defrauded the American people and were desperate to settle. Paramount, CBS, 60 Minutes have today paid $16 million in settlement, and we also anticipate receiving $20 million more from the new owners in advertising, PSAs, or similar program for a total of over $36 million. This is another in a long line of victories over the fake news media, who we are holding to account for their widespread fraud and deceit. The Wall Street Journal, the failing New York Times, the Washington Post, MSDNC, CNN, and all the other mainstream media liars are on notice that the days of them being allowed to deceive the American people are over. Make America great again. And yes, they're going to have to think twice when they push their stories. Now, it doesn't mean they're going to stop pushing the stories. They're going to try to get away with it. But I think eventually what's going to happen is Trump continually wins these lawsuits. These networks are going to say, hey, listen, we better stop doing this because we can't afford to continually pay out Trump over and over and over, especially when we have these shows where we're losing tons of money. We'll go bankrupt in the end. So it's either we better check our facts and tell the truth, or we go bankrupt. Let's see how this all plays out. This is going to be very, very interesting, which means that the deep state players, they're losing their ability to control the people through these networks. And it's going to get harder and harder for the deep state players. Think about what Trump has done right now. He's shown the people, look, this is one gigantic propaganda outlet. And as he wins his lawsuits, he's showing them that, yes, he is telling the truth. They lied. They manipulated. They put up fake stories. And people are learning, wow, they are truly the fake news. And think about the fake news. They're continually putting out fake stories about all these individuals that are being deported by ICE. And it's fake story after fake story after fake story. On Friday, a local newspaper in Allentown, Pennsylvania, they published a story making a salacious claim against the Trump administration. And family members came out and they said ICE has arrested and roughed up their 82-year-old grandfather, a legal asylum holder, before deporting him to Guatemala. Well, it turns out that this is completely and utterly fake. Bill Malugin put this out on X and says, it appears another hoax has been attempted. Family members of an 82-year-old Chilean man in Pennsylvania went to the media claiming ICE arrested him while renewing a green card in Philly, that he died in ICE custody, and that he was secretly deported to Guatemala. The story went viral online. It appears to have been all made up by the family, which has since gone dark and stopped responding to the press. Here's what happened since the story first ran in the morning call in an Allentown, PA newspaper. Records in Chile show a man with his same name and date of birth died in Chile in 2019. Guatemala says they have no record of him being deported into their country. DHS says there is no record of him appearing at any green card appointment in the Philly area, and they say ICE never arrested him. DHS says they never deported him, and their only record of him entering the U.S. is in 2015 from Chile via the visa waiver program, not an asylum grant from the 1980s as the family claimed. His granddaughter claimed he was sick in a Guatemalan hospital with pneumonia after ICE deported him, and that he was traumatized after first claiming he was dead. A doctor at the hospital she claimed he was at says there is no record of him being there. So they made all of this up. There's no record of any of this, and the family has gone dark. I think this tells you everything you need to know right there. Because you have to remember, these individuals that came into this country illegally, they're just lying to stay in this country. And you could see this is exactly what they're doing. These people will just continue to lie. And when they're found out, they scurry off and they hide. Now, just yesterday, we showed a video of an illegal shooting a CBP officer in New York City. And it looks like Homeland Security caught these two individuals. One was driving a moped. The other one was in a white T-shirt. And he shot the CBP officer. And it looks like he was shot also. And it looks like the guy on the moped drove him to the hospital. And there's actual video showing that the individual on the moped dropped him off. The guy's laying on the ground. And the guy on the moped drove off. So we could see that these are the people that Biden, or we should say Obama, was bringing in because he was really running the country with all the other people. Because you have to remember, they overthrew the United States government and they threw in a puppet, which was Biden, and they were actually really calling the shots. So these are the individuals that they brought into this country, and we can see every day that passes, these people commit more and more crimes. And this is exactly why the Clear Act of 2025 exists. Section 4 strips funding from sanctuary jurisdictions that ignore ICE detainers like New York City did with Christian Ibar Baroa after his April 2024 arrest. And this is why this has been put into place. And once again, we could see the D's, the deep state players, the fake news. They don't want to lose these people because, again, if they lose all these people, they can't win an election. They can't push riots. They can't start a civil war. They can't do any of these things. And which means they're screwed in the end. Plus, they like to use children as child laborers. They like to use children as sex slaves. They like to use women as sex slaves. This is why they've been bringing these people over the border. And now it's all coming to an end. And this is why they made a really big deal about Medicaid, saying, oh, no, people are going to lose their benefits. No, those people that are going to lose their benefits are those illegals that are on Medicaid. Now, of course, they're trying to tell everyone that not one illegal is on Medicaid. Nobody's receiving that whatsoever. So what's very interesting about all of this is that since they're complaining about Medicaid, states could fund the program themselves if they wanted to. Medicaid is not nearly as popular as the taxes needed to keep it afloat. So if California and the other states really wanted to keep this going, they could take it over. Oh, that's right. They don't have any money. That's the main problem. And how do we know that these illegals are receiving all these benefits? Libs of TikTok put this out and said the following. 20 states are suing the Trump admin to keep taxpayer-funded benefits for illegals. They want illegals to get Head Start, health care, tuition, and more. But Democrats just spent months insisting illegals weren't getting taxpayer-funded benefits. So why are they suing to get the taxpayer-funded benefits? Because Trump is now removing these benefits from all of these people. And if Gavin Newsom really wants to give Medicaid to all the illegals in California, let it be a state-run program. Again, they don't have the money. Remember, they're very, very dependent on the federal government to receive this money, and Trump is cutting them off left, right, and center. Think about it. You think the money that was going to the high-speed train, you think that money was really going to the high-speed train? Well, we know it wasn't. Where do you think it was going? Was it being laundered to be used for illegals? Was it being laundered to be used for other things? Think about the fires. Where do you think that money has gone? Think about the LA fires. Where do you think that money is going? All this money is going to help with their agenda. That's where it's all going. And what's very interesting is that the soldiers in LA, the Pentagon announced that the U.S. Marines will be pulling out of the city. And as soon as that was made, and as soon as the Pentagon said we're going to be pulling out the soldiers, Gavin Newsom came out and said he demands immediate withdrawal of soldiers from LA. So he's trying to convince the people of California that he was the one that actually forced the soldiers out of the cities. Well, no, the Pentagon already said that's what they're doing, and he just jumped on board and say, I demand this, and all of a sudden they're leaving. It's all fake, just like everything else he does. He's a snake oil salesman. Not as good as Obama, because actually if you start to question Newsom, he really can't handle it. Actually, if you go back to the time when DeSantis debated Newsom just completely and utterly folded. When he's doing things alone and nobody's questioning him, yeah, it sounds good to those people, I guess, in California. But as soon as you start to question him, he starts to babble like an idiot. Because again, what he's doing is not in the best interest of the people of this country, and he lies a lot. Now, the other thing that we could see, and it's very interesting, is that Representative Andrew Garbarino, he's going to chair the Homeland Security panel. So this is very interesting because this individual, he was all for the January 6th Commission and Biden's $1 trillion infrastructure bill. Congressman Greg Steube put this out and said, the Homeland Security gavel just went to someone who voted for the January 6th Commission and Biden's $1 trillion infrastructure bill. Why does this place keep rewarding moderates who vote with Democrats while sidelining actual conservatives? This isn't what Americans voted for. Well, again, do you really think this individual is a conservative? No, this individual is a rhino, Republican in name only. And what we're finding out, and I think we've known this for a very long time, that all these people are Democrats. Hey, are you struggling with hair shedding or thinning at the root? It might be more than just stress or age. Hormonal imbalances, nutrient gaps, and poor scalp circulation can all disrupt healthy hair growth. That's why the wellness company created Roots, your daily duo for hair loss support. This powerful bundle includes a supplement and topical hydrogel that work together to nourish your scalp and accelerate hair growth in weeks. The supplement delivers B vitamins, ashwagandha, saw palmetto, and other targeted nutrients to balance hormones, reduce shedding, to enhance healthy growth. The hydrogel formula consists of 7 peptides, methylene blue, and advanced aquasome technology to stimulate follicles and boost visible thickness. Thousands trust Roots to restore their confidence. Head to twc.health/X22 and use code X22 to get 10% off plus free shipping. Again, that is twc.health/X22 and use code X22 to get 10% off, or just click the link in the description. And once again, this person should not be receiving the gavel to handle all of this. But let's see how this all plays out. This will be very, very interesting. And the people of this country, they're completely and utterly against amnesty. So there was a poll that was put out by McLaughlin and Associates, and it finds about 77% of likely Americans voters believe it is neither fair nor right for the federal government to give amnesty to a particular subset of illegal aliens, including 55% who say they strongly believe amnesty is unfair. So everything the D's are doing, everything the fake news is doing, it's going against the people's wishes. Remember, the people voted for Trump. They voted for Trump because they wanted these people deported, because they saw what was happening in their city. They saw what was happening in the country, and they want these people gone. And we could see that the deep state players, they're very, very worried about Alina Habba. Remember, she's an interim U.S. attorney in New Jersey, and she is now putting criminals behind bars. She's assisting with the deportation of illegals. And the D's, they're trying to get rid of her. Mike Davis put this out and said, House Democrat leader Hakeem Jeffries is corruptly strong-arming 17 New Jersey U.S. district judges, including 15 Obama and Biden judges, to fire New Jersey U.S. Attorney Alina Habba tomorrow at 10 a.m. And right now, and Nick Sorter put this out, federal judges have refused to extend Alina Habba's tenure as interim U.S. Attorney of New Jersey. The leftist activist judges in New Jersey are clearly terrified of Habba. That's why we need to fight to get her confirmed by the Senate. And she needs to be confirmed. And actually, Trump needs to confirm over 200 people. And I do believe this is why he asked Senator Thune to tell everyone in the Senate, you shouldn't be going home for recess in August. We need to get these people confirmed and all of this out of the way. Let's see how this all plays out. And I do believe that they should not be going home. If he has over 200 individuals that he nominated and they're just sitting there waiting to be confirmed, Thune should say, you know something? We are not leaving in the month of August. We're going to stay here. We're going to get every single one of these people confirmed. I mean, it's already been 6 months. What are we waiting for here? Well, we know what the deep state player is doing. They don't want a lot of these people confirmed because think about it. All these people confirmed, this pretty much shuts down their entire deep state operation. They lose control completely. But we'll have to see how this all plays out. And hopefully Thune does the right thing. Now, the other thing that we could see is happening is Trump. He is now pulling out of UNESCO. And this is the second time. And you have to remember going back, Reagan pulled us out of UNESCO. Then we were put back into UNESCO. Trump pulled us out again. Biden put us back in. Trump is now pulling us out once again. And this is the United Nations Educational, Scientific, and Cultural Organization. And it's an international organization that runs under the auspices of the United Nations. UNESCO's charter is to promote cooperation in education, science, culture, and communication to foster peace worldwide. But in recent years, UNESCO has also been accused of slanted pro-China, pro-Palestine stances, among other woke priorities. Trump is withdrawing the United States from UNESCO due to their priorities. Under Biden, the U.S. rejoined UNESCO in 2021 after Reagan withdrew the U.S. from the organization in 1983. So here we are once again. We are now removing ourselves, the United States, from this because it's completely and utterly woke. And remember, this is all part of the deep state system. So we don't want to be part of any of the deep state's organizations, institutions, NGOs, or anything like that. So I do believe Trump, he will continue to pull us out of all of these different areas. And just like he's pulled us out of the deal with Iran and he shut down the nuclear reactors. Now, what's very interesting is that CNN and other fake news outlets, they continually try to convince the American people that Trump didn't destroy anything. And Trump showed videos. He said, yes, these areas are completely not destroyed. And now it looks like the Iran's foreign minister actually confirms all of this. Trump, he put this out on Truth. He said the following: Iran's foreign minister Abbas on the Iran nuclear sites, damages are very severe. They are destroyed. Of course, they are, just like I said, and we will do it again if necessary. As interviewed by Brett Baer, fake news CNN should immediately fire their phony reporter and apologize to me and the great pilots who obliterated Iran's nuclear sites. CNN is a major ratings loser, as is MSDNC. And just like all the other networks, I wouldn't be surprised if they're losing tons and tons of money because the people are no longer listening to them. They're losing people. Their ratings are dropping, and it's getting harder and harder for them to keep any type of narrative. Actually, they can't keep anything. No one is believing it. Now, it looks like Trump's plan might be working in regards to Ukraine and Russia. Think about what he's doing right now. He decided to stop all aid. Remember, that's the key word, aid, to Ukraine. So he's not giving money to Ukraine anymore. And he's not just giving weapons to Ukraine. Remember, Trump is a businessman. He's not just going to give things away. So he decided, you know what? Let the EU, let the deep state players, let NATO buy the weapons from us. This way we're not losing any money. You want our weapons? Sure. Buy them. We'll make more. NATO and EU, they have to decide what they're going to do with the weapons. Now, they can give it to Ukraine freely, but they're going to lose a lot of money. And they're going to have to fund Ukraine. Now, the EU doesn't give aid like the U.S. does. The EU gives Ukraine loans. And this is where it's going to be a huge problem for Ukraine because they're going to have to pay all this back. And we could see that as of right now, Zelensky is complaining that his country has yet to see any benefits from NATO's plan to ramp up military spending. So they were hoping, and I'm talking about Ukraine, they were hoping they were going to get the money from NATO because each country now is putting up, 5% or so or even more to pay for NATO. But you have to remember, the U.S. is removing the funds from NATO and other countries are substituting their funds for NATO. So NATO is not making an extra profit here. All that's happening is the amount of money that's being siphoned into NATO is just shifting. And the EU has open access to 150 billion euros. And Zelensky is saying that we haven't received it. Now, remember, they're not giving Ukraine aid. This is a loan. And in the end, you could see that Ukraine, they're going to actually fold because, once again, Ukraine will not be able to pay any of this back. The EU is kind of hesitant in giving this money to Ukraine. Credit rating is down the dumpers, and they don't have the ability to pay anything back. And you could see that they're going to lose money in both scenarios. They got to buy the weapons from the U.S., so they're going to lose money there. I mean, think about all the money that the EU states now are paying into NATO, and they're going to give a loan to Ukraine. Basically, in the end, Zelensky's going to say, okay, we can't fight this war. We're dead here. What are we doing? Remember, the only way they can keep these endless wars going is via the United States. The United States just gives them billions and billions of dollars. All of this has been cut off. So Trump, he's now basically grinding this down and forcing the EU, the deep state players, to stop the war. No money, no war. That's how it works. Now, the other thing that we could see, which is very, very interesting, is that the D's, they're not even hiding the fact of why they need the illegals in this country. Representative Yvette Clarke, Democrat from New York, she says, I need more migrants in my district for redistricting purposes. This is how you hijack democracy. I need more illegals in there because I need to cheat in the elections. I need more illegals in there because, again, I need more seats. I need more illegals in this country. I mean, really think about what they're saying right now. They're basically rigging the entire system with illegals in this country. They're not vetted. They're not citizens. And the Clean Elections Act aims to end gerrymandering by mandating nonpartisan redistricting commissions. But Representative Clark's admission exposes the raw calculus behind open borders, inflating blue districts with non-citizens to rig representation. Basically, they're liars, they're cheats, they're criminals, and they're not even holding back anymore because at this point in time, they realize they do not have the upper hand. This point in time, they realize that they're going to lose the midterms. And no, the MAGA people aren't going to split. The MAGA people aren't going to get angry at Trump because, he's not releasing the Epstein hoax files. Think about it. The MAGA people have been following Trump since the very beginning. They watched him go through everything. Think about it. These people, all of us, they watched him take every sling and arrow. We weren't taking any slings and arrows. Yes, we might have arguments with families. We might have arguments with people on the street. People might give us the finger. But he was taking every sling and arrow. And people, the MAGA team, the people in this country, they watched it every step of the way. Do you really think they're just going to say, hey, we're not with you anymore? Absolutely not. Do you think the people trust him? Absolutely. And I do believe they trust him enough for when he calls out certain people, like Thomas Massie. Trump, he put this out and said, Thomas Massie, the worst Republican congressman, and an almost guaranteed no vote each and every time, is an embarrassment to Kentucky. He's lazy, slow-moving, and totally disingenuous. A real loser. Never has anything positive to add. Looking for someone good to run against this guy. Someone I can endorse and vigorously campaign for. So let's see how that plays out. Let's see if somebody pops up. I do believe there was a nurse, I don't know if that's a good candidate or not, in Kentucky that says she might run against Thomas Massie, but we'll have to see how that all plays out. Now, the other thing that we could see is that Speaker Johnson, he's saying that he's going to shut down the House right now because he doesn't want the House to vote on the Jeffrey Epstein files. Remember, these files that Obama wants, Hillary wants, the fake news wants, all the people that never said a word before, the reason why they want them, the only reason they come out like this and they want them so bad is because it's a hoax, just like the Russian collusion thing, just like impeachment number 1, number 2, just like the indictments. They're pushing it because they created it. Trump and team knows this. And this is why he's pushing back very, very hard against it. And once again, Speaker Johnson, in accordance with Trump, he will shut down the House so they don't vote on it. Because again, Trump is going to bring out the information in a different way. Remember, the deep state players, Obama and the rest, they want these files out there to distract from everything that's going on. And they want to basically divert the story. They want to tell the story of what happened. Trump wants to show everyone how this is all connected, and he wants to be the controller of the story. And this is why he doesn't want to use their fake information, because he's bringing out information. Remember, all these people are all the same people, the people with Epstein and everything like that. Remember, blackmail, bribes, you name it. They're all involved in this. And yes, Epstein is a part of this. They didn't tell us about Epstein for no reason whatsoever. This all goes with everything that we're seeing today. It's all connected. Attorney General Pamela Boundy put this out and said, this Department of Justice does not shy away from uncomfortable truth, nor from the responsibility to pursue justice wherever the facts may lead. The joint statement by the DOJ and FBI of July 6 remains as accurate today as it was when it was written. Namely, that in the recent thorough review of the files maintained by the FBI in the Epstein case, no evidence was uncovered that could predicate an investigation against uncharged third parties. Trump has told us to release all credible evidence. If Ghislaine Maxwell has information about anyone who has committed crimes against victims, the FBI and the DOJ will hear what she has to say. Therefore, at the direction of Attorney General Bondi, I have communicated with the counsel for Ms. Maxwell to determine whether she would be willing to speak with prosecutors from the department. I anticipate meeting with Ms. Maxwell in the coming days. Until now, no administration on behalf of the department had inquired about her willingness to meet with the government. That changes now. And I do believe Trump is not going to depend on these ridiculous documents. I think he's going to have real-life testimony and actually people that will testify during trials and investigations. So the question is Ghislaine Maxwell, is she part of the deep state, or is she going to make a deal with the DOJ? Todd Blanche responded to this and said, "Justice demands courage. For the first time, the Department of Justice is reaching out to Ghislaine Maxwell to ask, what do you know? At Bondi's direction, I've contacted her counsel. I intend to meet with her soon. No one is above the law, and no lead is off limits." It seems like they're definitely going in a certain direction, and we'll have to see how this all plays out. And I do believe the information, if there is information from Ghislaine Maxwell, it most likely, and maybe she'll make a deal, who knows, most likely it will counter everything that the deep state has put in the Epstein files. And I do believe this is why Trump has ordered the release of the grand jury information. And I do believe this information is going to build the framework for what comes next. Now, what's very interesting is that the judge who's handling this case, Judge Engelmeyer, is now asking certain questions about why they want this information. And he said he needs more information before he unseals grand jury transcripts. The identity of the party seeking disclosure, whether the defendant to the grand jury proceeding of the government opposes the disclosure, why disclosure is being sought in the particular case, what specific information is being sought for disclosure, how long ago the grand jury proceedings took place, the current status of the principals of the grand jury proceeding and that of their families, the extent to which the desired material either permissibly or impermissibly has been previously made public, whether the witness to the grand jury proceeding who might be affected by disclosure are still alive, additional need for maintaining secrecy in the particular case in question. So Engelmeyer also said he needs a letter from Ghislaine Maxwell and victims by August 5th. So this is going to be very, very interesting as we move forward. Let's see how this all plays out. Now, Karma Patriot, she saw a post from FBI Director Kash Patel, and Kash Patel responded to Bondi where he says, "Get it." And Karma Patriot put this out on Truth and says, "Do you get it yet? They're afraid of you, reach, uncontrollable, anti-narrative, free thought. Don't forget about the House Intel Committee meeting, REQAnon today. More conspiracy, fact, less base, less claims, pushed, RE violent, extremist, racist, dangerous, anti-gov, Nazism, white supremacy, anti-religion, anti-American." And what she's doing, she's pointing to post 4875. This is information warfare. And that's what we're experiencing right now. And once again, Trump now is going in a complete and utter direction. He's not using the narrative that the deep state wants him to use. Trump is pushing back, and he's going to tell the story on how everything is connected. We'll have to see how this all plays out. This is going to be very, very interesting. And like we said before, Trump has over 260 nominees not yet confirmed by the Senate. Eric Doherty put this out and said, "No long weekends, no August recess, get these done." And you have to remember, the liberal judges in New Jersey, they're trying to remove Alina Habba right now. So she needs to be confirmed very, very quickly. Now, the other thing that we could see is that Tulsi Gabbard, she released 230,000 MLK files. And again, she's continually releasing all this information, telling the story of what the deep state players have done in the past. This is what she put out on X. "Today, after nearly 60 years of questions surrounding the assassination of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., we're releasing 230,000 MLK assassination files available now at archives.gov/MLK. The documents include details about the FBI's investigation into the assassination of MLK, discussion of potential leads, internal FBI memos detailing the progress of the case, information about James Earl Ray's former cellmate who stated he discussed with Ray an alleged assassination plot, and more. Thanks to President Trump's leadership, Executive Order 14176 resulted in 3 unprecedented interagency efforts to identify, digitize, declassify, and release files related to the federal government's investigations into the assassinations of Kennedy, Senator Robert F. Kennedy, and Dr. King." And it's pretty amazing that all these revolve around the assassinations of these people. Didn't they try to assassinate Trump? I wonder if these are all going to be connected later on. Most likely, they probably will. Remember, Trump now is telling the story, and he's trapping the deep state players. He's dripping out the information, and each time the information is dripped out, the deep state players are going to try to cover it up, try to spin it. And each time they do this, more information is going to be brought out into the public realm, and people are going to realize that they lied and they were just trying to cover for themselves. And this is where the deep state players get themselves into trouble, because the cover-up always gets you. And look, right on cue, Obama, his office responded to Trump's comments. And this is what he put out, or his office. Out of respect for the office of the presidency, our office does not normally dignify the consistent nonsense and misinformation flowing out of the White House with a response. But these claims are outrageous enough to merit one. These bizarre allegations are ridiculous and weak attempt at distraction. Nothing in the document issued last week undercuts the widely accepted conclusion that Russia worked to influence the 2016 presidential election, but did not successfully manipulate any votes. These findings were affirmed in 2020 report by the bipartisan Senate Intelligence Committee, led by then Chairman Marco Rubio. So they put this information out. Wait until you see when they declassify even more information. It's going to debunk what he just said. And it's just going to get worse and worse as time goes on. Cynical Publius put this out and said, well, here we have it. Via NBC News, we now have the official response by the Obama team regarding the fact that their criminal conspiracy to undo a lawful presidential election has been fully exposed. This is not a news story, folks. The Obama team spent the last 4 days getting this story straight, and now they are laundering the fake narrative through the operatives in one of the dying legacy media sources. The only good thing is that no one will see the report except for the deranged boomers from the No King spectacle. Keep the heat on. We've got MAGA bloodhounds chasing the Obama-not criminals through the swamps and lies of obfuscation, and we're not backing down. Absolutely. And we need to remember something very important. Going back in time, information was already declassified by certain individuals. Brian Cates put this out and said, the reason so many are confused right now is that many of the really good declassifications were done by William Barr years and years ago. William Barr, Rick Grinnell, and Rod Rosenstein and John Ratcliffe did many of the crucial key Spygate declassifications from 2017 through 2020. Really funny how nobody else tells you this. Be very skeptical of those trying to tell you Trump needs to fire Ratcliffe immediately. And does Ratcliffe really need to be fired? Absolutely not. Trump put him into place for a specific reason. Trump put Cash in charge of the FBI for a specific reason. Tulsi, Kristi Noem, and the rest. Because he basically took over all these different agencies, and these people are loyal to him. And they will clean out the agencies, and they will put out the truth of what's really going on. Not what the deep state wants. Not what the fake news is forcing. Not what the shills want. Because again, Trump is going to tell the story using actual information, not made up information with no sources. So once again, we could see we are on our way. Now, it looks like Chuck Grassley, he declassified certain docs, and this is the classified annex of the IG report. And it was made public, and we're learning a lot about Clinton email investigation. So this is very, very interesting, because we know that Comey and the rest, they didn't want to investigate Clinton's emails because that would then lead to Obama. So that was completely and utterly shut down. But Lisa May says, I wouldn't be surprised to see Chuck Schumer's name in the upcoming declass dump. And she refers to two different posts, 569. And in this post from January 19, 2018, there's a meme that says, I'm scared, and it's a picture of Chuck Schumer. Down below it says, he has to use the bathroom prior to leaving, which is very, very interesting. Then post 565, CS will live in fear from today forward, Chuck Schumer. Thank you for visiting the White House. So that is very, very interesting. I wonder if something will come up with Chuck Schumer. Maybe, maybe not. Paul Sperry put this out and said, Senator Grassley just released a long classified Clinton annex, finally declassified by AG Bondi, which proves that Comey, FBI, exonerated Hillary of email server crimes, despite never investigating thumb drives with compromised classified emails, including President Obama email. Julie Kelly responds to all this and says, I've read Grassley's latest disclosure, and it appears this relates to the 2015 hack of the State Department. A source gave the FBI 8 thumb drives of data, including Obama's, and it appears the records were the subject of DOJ-FBI discussions starting in the spring of 2016. In late May, FBI officials, including Trish Anderson and Peter Strzok, started drafting a memo to send to DOJ seeking approval to conduct target searches of the thumb drives in order to the full scope of unauthorized disclosure of classified emails found on Clinton's email server. But the memo died. It was never approved or sent to the department. Horowitz wrote, on June 27th, the mid-year team, including Comey and McCabe, met and discussed the thumb drives, but a decision was made to forego review of the data. Of course, by that point, Comey, weeks earlier, had decided to close the investigation and not pursue charges, which he announced on July 5th, 2016. So basically, they closed all this down because this would then implicate Obama. Very, very interesting. C3 put this out and said, NYPD discovered Hillary emails on Anthony Weiner's laptop during their underage sexting investigation. McKay, Priestap, and Toscas covered it up. Hillary's emails ended up on a sex offender's computer, then it disappeared. This group also tried to frame Trump. The FBI is evil. Absolutely. And think about it. Trump was completely transparent when Mueller was investigating him, compared to Hillary, compared to Obama and everyone else. Hans put this out and said, Trump handed over every campaign and business email to Mueller. They were literally able to see every last detail of Trump world, from strategy sessions, travel plans, donor calls, to internal debates. Meanwhile, the FBI had thumb drives loaded with evidence tied to Hillary Clinton's illegal email server and never looked at them, supposedly because of executive privilege. No justice system survives that kind of rot. At some point, there have to be real consequences. So basically, when you really look at this, they weren't investigating any of this because this all leads to Obama. Yes, they didn't want to put Hillary Clinton in prison, and they were all part of the criminal syndicate, but the real reason is because it all leads to Obama. And I do believe Obama was basically created to basically overthrow the United States government, infiltrate the government, and destroy the United States once and for all. And when you really look at Obama, there's a lot of questions, and actually President Trump brought this up before he was president, about Obama's birth certificate. Is he truly a citizen of this country? And what we found out is that a lot of his student records, they are kept hidden, they're sealed, so nobody can see any of these records. Now, that's a very interesting thing. Why would they be sealed? Brian Cates put this out and said, there's a reason all of his college stuff is sealed tighter than a drum. He was going around admitting that he was born in Kenya and was an international student before this became a massive problem when they began grooming him for a political career, with the presidency being the ultimate prize. Some people think I'm exaggerating when I humorously refer to him as our former gay faggot Muslim Brotherhood president. There's no real exaggeration, however. He is gay. He's ostensibly a Muslim, though he affects an inoffensive Christian veneer. He is affiliated with the Muslim Brotherhood and its international plans. He was directly involved in the rise and ability of ISIS to seize large chunks of territory in Iraq and Syria, resulting in the deaths of a whole lot of people beyond Benghazi. Globalist cultists don't actually belong to any religion outside of their cult. They may make a public pretense of being Muslims, Christians, or Jews, but it's a facade. Obama's past had to be carefully filtered and curated to maintain the proper illusion that were necessary to give him a U.S. Senate and then presidential careers. As with everything else in this great awakening, going back and challenging and re-examining the official versions of Obama's history cannot be stopped, and that's a beautiful thing. And think about it. The deep state players have lied about everything. Go all the way back in time. Russian collusion, the impeachments, the indictments, the assassination, COVID, everything, you name it, they lied about it. So why wouldn't they lie about Obama? It's the same exact people. There's a reason why they sealed this information. They don't want people to see it. And I do believe this, everything that we're witnessing, goes back to 2008 when these same people, along with Obama, overthrew the United States government. That was one of the first times. Maybe there's other times before that, but let's just start at that point in time moving forward, and Trump caught them every single time. Rapper Response 47 put this out, and this is Trump talking. Barack Hussein Obama is the ringleader. Hillary Clinton was right there with him, and so was Sleepy Joe Biden. And so were the rest of them, Comey, Clapper, the whole group. They tried to rig an election, and then they got caught. Then Trump said that Obama is guilty, and it's treason. Take a listen.
Has submitted a criminal referral to the Department of Justice. From your perspective, who should the DOJ target as part of their investigation? What specific figures in the Obama administration?
Well, based on what I read, and I read pretty much what you read, it would be President Obama. He started it. And Biden was there with him, and Comey was there, and Clapper. The whole group was there. Brennan, they were all there in a room. Right here, this was the room. This is much more beautiful than it was then, but that's okay. I have nice pictures up. They came out of the vaults. They were in there for 100 years. This is much more beautiful. We have the Declaration of Independence now in the room, which wasn't here. I guess people didn't feel too good about putting it here, but I do. But you know what? If you look at those papers, they have them stone cold, and it was President Obama. It wasn't lots of people all over the place. It was them too. But the leader of the gang was President Obama, Barack Hussein Obama. Have you heard of him? And except for the fact that he gets shielded by the press for his entire life, that's the one look, he's guilty. It's not a question. I like to say, let's give it time. It's there. He's guilty. This was treason. This was every word you can think of. They tried to steal the election. They tried to obfuscate the election. They did things that nobody's ever even imagined, even in other countries. You've seen some pretty rough countries. This man has seen some pretty rough countries, but you've never seen anything like it.
And that's absolutely true. But think about what's happening right now. Trump now is building the narrative. He needs the people to digest this. He needs the people awake. He needs the people to understand. Yes, we can arrest these people. But again, if you don't have the people on your side and you don't have the ability to try these people, it's absolutely meaningless. Clandestine put this out and said, reminder, arresting people is the easy part. On brainwashing hundreds of millions of people and getting them to accept high-profile arrests, that's the hard part. Patience, class is in session. And once again, remember, Trump's mission is to take back control and unite the people of this country. He wants people to understand who the true enemy is. And a lot of Ds are having a very difficult time with this. But eventually, I do believe they'll come around. Yes, maybe we won't get every single person. Maybe we'll lose, 4 to 10% of the people. But we will have the majority. Hodler responded to Clandestine and said, and points to a Q post 3125, it says, the attempted coup treason opens the public door to more serious, serious crimes. The pill must be easy to swallow. The lead-in. The public must be prepared for what is about to come. The Clinton Foundation with all pluses. So yes, this is the lead-in. And it looks like General Flynn right now, he is calling for military tribunals, and he wants the passports taken away from all of these people. The Skiff put this out and said, General Flynn states that military tribunals should be explored for the Obama-Russia collusion coup against Trump. Documents prove that Barack Obama knew the Russian collusion narrative was a hoax. Obama was involved in manufacturing and politicizing the intelligence to create the Trump-Russian collusion canard. Gabbard announced that they have the evidence required to prosecute Obama and his administration tied to an erroneous grand conspiracy coup against Trump and crimes of treason. General Flynn also stated that the DOJ should confiscate the passports of all individuals involved so fleeing the country is not an option to avoid prosecution. There is still classified information they possess that pins every single one of them to the crimes of treason, along with the crimes that were previously ignored or covered up, and claim that there are more names to be exposed that haven't even been dropped yet. This was treason and an attempt at an orchestrated coup, directed by Obama and others to overthrow the U.S. government. The Trump administration had been working on this entire case in secret. Treason is not protected by immunity. Get ready, ladies and gentlemen. The trigger will be pulled and things will get ugly. But this must be done, and these people must be held accountable. Absolutely. But I do believe if you make your move, just like in any sting operation, if you make your move too soon, you kind of blow the whole thing. I do believe Trump now is educating the people. And as these people try to spin the story, to try to cover up what they did, it just gets worse and worse for them. People need time to digest and wake up. Trump wants the fake news, Obama, Hillary Clinton, the deep state to spin the information and lie to cover up their crimes. Then he'll produce more information to actually show that they lied. They'll lie again. He'll produce additional information and they'll lie again. Each time he does this, he builds his case. Trump, he put this out and said, this makes Watergate look like small potatoes. Victor David Hanson, senior fellow, Hoover Institution, they are caught. Irrefutable evidence. They should all go to jail or it will never stop. Nobody will believe the evidence, which is overwhelming. Make America great again. Then Trump put this out. Obama himself manufactured the Russia hoax. Crooked Hillary, Sleepy Joe, and numerous others participated in this. The crime of the century, irrefutable evidence, a major threat to our country. And think about what Trump did to trap Obama and the rest in all of this. Because again, they're going to try to use immunity. And you have to remember, there was a Supreme Court ruling in 2024. And think about everything that Trump does. He prepares for all of this. He wants certain rulings to be made to make sure that the deep state players can't, or the fake news, can't argue with what is going on. So according to the U.S. Supreme Court's 2024 ruling in Trump versus United States, which remains in effect as of July 2025, with no major updates or reversals from subsequent terms, a former president's criminal immunity applies only to acts taken while in office and depends on whether those acts are classified as official or unofficial. The ruling does not provide blanket immunity for crimes like treason, overthrowing the government, example, coup or insurrection, or involvement in spying surveillance, nor does it carve out exceptions for the severity of such crimes, even if they involve betraying the nation or undermining democracy. If the acts occurred after leaving office as a former president, they fall outside presidential immunity entirely, and the individual could be prosecuted like any other citizen. So think about it. Trump wanted the Supreme Court to specifically explain the immunity of the president. So this way, nobody has to question it. The Supreme Court already ruled on it, just like with the taxes and everything else that he does. He makes sure that everything is in place. He has the leverage. And you also have to remember, I do believe, and Trump has said this for a very long time, Obama is not a citizen. He lied to become a president, then overthrew the United States government in 2008, he tried in 2016, in 2020, and they tried again in 2024. He infiltrated the U.S. with the Muslim Brotherhood to destroy the U.S. Is he a Manchurian candidate? Yes, of course he is. Go back. There's only one post with Manchurian candidate. 1662, July 1st, 2018. Very interesting. There's a link to the Washington Times. This is back in 2018. It says, U.S. really did have a Manchurian candidate in the White House. Let me just read the first two paragraphs here. After returning from a tour of some of the war zones in the Middle East, which ended with the Free Iran gathering in 2018 in Paris, I am struck by the realization that America really did have a Manchurian candidate in the White House for 8 years. If you look at the evidence, there really is no other conclusion. The calamitous consequences of the Obama presidency will be felt for the foreseeable future. In the short year and a half that President Trump has been in office, remember this was back in 2018, he has put in place policies that has mitigated the damage that Obama inflicted on our nation's security and on our allies. The speed of which Trump has been able to turn things around points to the diabolical depths the Obama administration went in order to undermine our national strength and way of life. All Trump had to do was stop doing things that hurt America. America could then take care of itself. So was Obama a Manchurian candidate? Of course he was. He was brought in here. He had his parents, they were CIA operatives, and they went ahead and they trained Obama, a non-citizen, to infiltrate this country. And think about what he's done ever since. Why do you think he hasn't gone away? Why do you think he stays in D.C.? Because his mission is not over. The problem is that Trump stepped in. They never expected her to lose. They never expected Trump to weather everything that they threw at him. And this caused a major problem because now Trump has everything on them. And this changes everything. Without Trump, the country would have been destroyed. And Trump actually lets us know that's true. That we would be in World War III right now if Hillary Clinton won the election. It seems like the military, Trump, they decided, okay, we tried throughout these many, many years to get someone to take back control of the country. Nobody could do it. Now we have to come up with a plan, and we're going to have to take it all back. So Trump, he came up with what? I guess we could say it's an 8-year plan or a 12-year plan, because when you really look at it, it's 3 terms. Let's go back to post 894, March 9th. There's a picture of Trump pointing to Obama. It says, when I'm done, it'll be like you were never even here. Down below it says, when we're done, he'll claim Kenya citizenship as a way to escape. Interesting. So think about this. It's like he'll never been here. So everything that Biden, everything Obama has, they have done, it's all going to be null and void. And all of this is going to be erased. He'll be erased. Actually, he'll just be known as the treasonous criminal that tried to destroy America. And I do believe that Trump, at this point in time, with all the patriots, the amount of strength, the amount of leverage that they have right now is absolutely incredible. And this is why Trump is now bringing this all up. Because as we approach the midterms, the people are going to continually hear about all this information. And people are going to have to decide, are you going to vote Democrat or are you going to vote for Trump, his people that he endorses? I do believe Trump is all setting this all up right now to get control of the House and the Senate. So this way, he has complete and utter control of it all. And once you have this strength and you have this leverage, you can go after every single one of these people. Why? Because you can remove everything that they put in place. And you can put in judges. You can actually change the course of how elections are run. You can change quite a bit because, again, Trump can create executive orders. But think about what the House and Senate can do. They can create new laws or remove existing laws. And they can put laws into place that benefit we, the people. And once that's in place, they lose it all. Trump is going to bring down their entire corrupt temple on top of their heads. Why? Because the patriots are in control. Listen, everyone, thanks a lot for listening. Be well, be safe, and especially be prepared. Thanks a lot.